This young man is known as the Prince of Wind. However, this wind is strange in that it comes and goes like a gust of wind. Specifically, Noah Harrington decides to turn himself into the town's master thief of the century. Since Noah appeared, the whole town's insomnia has increased day by day, especially wealthy people like his target today. Noah, after taking the spoils, then used his strong wind, blow away the guards chasing him. Then he accelerated, gentle, like the way the wind passes over people, successfully escaped the pursuit. Noah's mother, before dying, warned him it was best never to use his powers. But the results are there for everyone to see. The feeling of flying in the air made Noah extremely excited. He calls himself the expert on solving this town's problems, despite having a debt of 50,000 gold coins. At a pub, the boss sighed as soon as he heard the door click. I told him to be more careful. One day that door will be broken. Under his hand, Noah kicked the door open and walked in like a victorious hero. He placed the finished product on the table, indifferent to the tavern owner's words, as if he was used to it. Noah just wanted a good salary. The boss threw a small bag on the table, making Noah angry and wanting to hit him. What is this? This place doesn't even have 50 gold coins. I had to get past so many guards for this. I might as well sell it myself. Go ahead. The boss didn't bother arguing, seeming to be used to Noah's temper. Just then a stranger walked in. Noah immediately covered his face with his hood and sat down. The person who came was an old lady who had confided in the tavern owner, holding the ring Noah just stole. Her eyes filled with tears of emotion. Thank you so much, sir. This is all I have left of my daughter. To show her appreciation, she gave the boss a basket of bread. This was all she had. The boss happily accepted the offer. He was sure that the repairman would eat it with all his heart. After the old lady left, Noah's face showed nausea, mimicking the boss's teasing words. He didn't care, making him angrily gnaw on his bread. Noah didn't like the feeling that he was doing all the hard work and he was just getting paid. The boss was also helpless and told Noah, you cannot reveal your identity and abilities. If they know you can use mana, they will definitely drag Noah to the battlefield. Live a quiet life and pay off all your debts. Don't follow in your father's footsteps again. Noah hated hearing these words all these years. He asked his boss to give him something more worthy than a lecture. The pub owner also indulged Noah by giving him a stuffed animal that didn't look like a real puppy. Noah put his hands on his hips and raised his eyebrows. Do I really have to deliver this thing? 10,000 gold coins. As soon as he heard the price, Noah grabbed the stuffed animal with a greedy face. Now, even if he was forced to deliver it to the end of the world, he would still go. But when he heard that the recipient was Renee Academy, Noah's expression changed continuously. Not only that, it was delivered to my daughter's dormitory. Boss, are you crazy? Don't you know that's a place that no one can break into? Noah threw the teddy bear away. Luckily, the boss caught him and even doubled the price if he completed it. As long as you have money, nothing can stop you. Noah grabbed the teddy bear and set off with a confident face. Who am I if no one can do it? Let me do it. Although it crowed loudly, it had been more than an hour. Noah just dared to sit and observe Renee Academy from the top of the mountain, regretting that money had blinded his eyes. Inside that academy are all three elements of terror, from mages who can control all elements, genius inventors but crazy personalities, even the summoners, with those scary monsters too. Just thinking about it makes Noah's back cold. He walked back and forth calculating. Noah should have asked his boss for more than 20,000 gold coins, but 20,000 gold coins was almost half of his debt. Noah took a deep breath to gather his courage. He just needed to go to room 404 of the girls' dormitory and throw this to the black-haired, red-eyed girl, and that would be it. Noah jumps on the wall. Sure enough, he was stopped by a force field filled with mana, as he had predicted. However, it was spread out thin enough to cover the entire academy grounds. With fragile things like this, it is impossible to stop a master thief like Noah. With one hand, he successfully sneaked in without being detected. The next problem is, Noah must find out who is the one with black hair and red eyes among these girls. Fuck, Noah cursed silently. Both girls in front of him had black hair, but both were fast asleep, so he can't confirm their eye color. Noah couldn't wait here until morning. He intended to put it between the two of them and quickly leave, but his responsibility as a husband wouldn't allow him to do that. The important thing is that Noah is afraid of losing the other 20,000 gold coins. Noah had no choice but to do it himself. He approached and pulled up a girl's eyelids, happy to see it red, but before Noah could pull his hand back, her eyes opened wide. Who dares to open my eyes? Noah was stunned and let go of her hand. No, you're awake. She jumped up and punched Noah, almost hitting him. The girl was a little surprised when Noah was able to avoid that unexpected and tricky attack. While the two were moving vigorously, the other girl was still sleeping soundly. Noah wanted to explain, but in this case, who would believe him? Not only did he break into the girl's dormitory, he also ripped her eyes out. All the signs of a pervert appeared on Noah, making her furious. The dormitory hallway was as quiet as a sheet. Suddenly, a wall exploded. Then there was Noah's figure running with his legs up to his neck. The girl behind was carrying a strange object. Chase closely, not giving Noah a chance to explain. There's no other way. He had to show his right-hand technique. Noah summons a powerful tornado to stop her. After firing, he just remembered that he couldn't control the intensity because he was too scared. The explosion was so loud that it seemed to break the whole structure. Noah was remorseful and said, "Oh, sorry, I just accidentally did it." "So you are a magician?" She held the strange book in her hand. She walked without any problems and understood why Noah could pass through the protective barrier. "I originally intended to keep your life and bring you to the position of principal, but now I changed my mind." Her two red eyes glowed like a predator's, causing Noah to unconsciously enter a fighting stance. Suddenly she opened the book, sparks from her hand connected to it, as if summoning something dangerous. Appear Genochi, the space suddenly turned pitch black, confusing Noah. A powerful werewolf suddenly appeared with a halo illuminating the entire hallway. Noah feels like he's out of luck today. In the 3 categories, he encountered a new heartbreaking summoner. Lucia Sigran, she is in a temper. Introducing himself again made Noah feel like a joke. Lucia slowly walked up like a calm predator before dinner. "I will tell you my name so you know who will be the one to take your life tonight." The silence was torn apart by Genochi's roar. Noah cried out in his heart. Just for 10,000 gold coins, he had to face a summoner. It was really hard mode. Then Genochi's 2 front legs intertwined to form a mark in front of Noah's neck. Even though he avoided it, Lucia still beat him up. Noah had to fight more than just that monster. But also her. Noah has no intention of doing that right now. But in the end, he still did it. That is, pretending to be stupid and falling to the ground. All 3 froze for 5 seconds when they saw Noah with his butt in the air. He turned over with an innocent face. "Well, I almost died." Genochi's punch almost sent him back to his mother. So Noah ran away again. In the quiet of the night, there are 2 people chasing each other. Despite destroying buildings, Noah turned around, trying to convince Lucia to stop chasing him. "Look back. I didn't destroy anything you did." Suddenly Lucia stopped. There is another shield in front of the force. Noah is frustrated because he can't get out now. Had to roll into a nearby room. Noah brushed off the pieces of glass on his body and muttered, "Fuck, is she really a student, or are all the students here crazy?" Noah was so lost in thought that he didn't notice the presence of a goblin in the room. "Who's making a ruckus here?" Noah's heart skipped a beat. He immediately apologized for breaking his window. Who knew there were 2 monsters out there hunting him? But it seems that the wise man is not as kind as Noah. He approached with a serious face. "I ask you again, who are you?" Noah was so scared that he couldn't say a word. The elf had to take Lucia's testimony. The door blocked by magic is released. She immediately smashed the door open and rushed in. His voice was so out of tune with the quiet that it hurt his ears. As if he was used to Lucia's nature, the elf only asked about the situation. Lucia immediately replied, "That pervert broke into my room. I said I'm not, Noah just opened his mouth, was stopped by the goblin with a powerful magic. His whole body was pressed to the ground and he couldn't move. Noah was curious who this goblin was and why he was so domineering. At that moment, Lucia also accidentally answered his question, "Principal, let me punish him." The principal understood her frustration, but he couldn't let a student carry out the punishment. The principal ordered Lucia to go to her room in a stern voice. Before his tough attitude, she could only leave angrily. As soon as she turned away, her eyes were filled with anger. After Lucia left, the principal sat down to chat with Noah. Just by looking at his appearance, he knew Noah was not from the academy. Noah smiled foolishly. The campus is so big that I got lost." The principal's eyebrows seemed to be stuck together. "The academy is not a place you can enter if you get lost, and I'm sure you know this too." Noah put his hands behind his head and looked harmless. "Don't worry, I'm not a threat, nor am I some kind of pervert." But when the principal asked Noah who he worked for, he just ignored him. And that was all the principal needed to know. He didn't even ask where Noah came from or what he was doing here. In fact, the principal didn't know enough to care. Whatever the reason, trespassing on the academy grounds is a serious crime. Not to mention Noah barged into the girls' dormitory. As a principal, he has the responsibility to punish the guilty. But he also has the responsibility to look for young talent. Noah's ability to get through the security barrier impressed the principal so much that he let him decide for himself. One is to join the academy and develop Noah's little talent into a real one. If not, the rest of his life, you will have to live with the lowest criminal status. Noah's face darkened. So that's what you want. It looks like the principal has the upper hand, but in reality it's not reasonable at all. A female student brought an intruder to her room. In the end, he sent her away and convinced the intruder. The principal probably knew he was a bit selfish. The two choices he made in the end were just to get Noah to do something for him. But unfortunately, he couldn't. Even though he is in a weak position now outside the academy walls, there is no one who does not know Noah's name. There was a loud crash as Noah smashed the window to show his power. But he had his reasons. Once Noah successfully broke into Renee Academy, his reputation would skyrocket. The principal seemed to have been caught and retracted his previous threatening expression. What do you want? All his life, everyone knows that Noah wants money. If the principal wants to keep him at the academy, he must have a clear contract and pay him. Of course, he must also pay for tuition and miscellaneous expenses. You'll lose a pretty penny. How about it, principal, looking at Noah's smug expression? The principal's eyes seemed to pop out as he stared at him. Lucia returned to her room angrily. The owl almost caught Noah but was stopped by the principal. She slammed the door shut, causing her deep-sleeping friend to wake up in panic. Lucia still can't believe there's someone as perverted and talented as Noah. What a waste of talent. On top of that, he also ruined her sleep when she had midterms tomorrow. Lucia needed to be in top form for the test. She lifted the blanket and accidentally discovered her stuffed animal. What Lucia left at home. Now it appears here. The next morning, Lucia went to class with the judgmental eyes of the whole class. They called her arrogant simply because of jealousy. Lucia is always at the top of the class, and no one can beat her. They even used the name of the traitorous Sigrun family to smear Lucia's talent. They said she appeared arrogant and authoritative, but no one dared to say it in front of Lucia. Just whisper behind her back, Lucia reached into the drawer to get her books. Then a slight explosion occurred. Her 10 fingertips turned into bloodthirsty cobras. Lucia tried to lighten the mood with their jokes. She told herself that she was the center of attention simply because she was so special. At this moment, the loudspeaker rang out, requiring all students in the lecture hall to come to the arena. Lucia stood up first. Before leaving, she blew on her snake hand, then leave a spell on the wall. After she left, the whole group was surrounded by strange smoke. After the smoke clears, they all realized they only have one eye left in the middle of their face. At the arena, Lucia sat alone on the chair. While the professor was curious why the others did not appear, the door suddenly opened. The whole crowd of one-eyed people jostling each other rushed in and left the professor speechless. Lucia returned the gun to her so that the professor could take action herself. The professor was annoyed because Lucia's fingers turned into snakes, and now each of them had only one eye, which made her even more angry. The professor held a gun and pointed it at each child's face. If I see you guys playing around with magic again, don't blame me. Let's start the test. Meanwhile, Noah is feeling refreshed. Walk in the hallway because of successful negotiation with the principal. Every service is extremely satisfying. He is a lucky shipper who got a scholarship and money. Once Noah graduates, he will be able to pay off his debt and be free to roam. Suddenly, something rushed straight into Noah's stomach. Make him drool. A squirrel boy who hasn't seen Noah's face clearly yet pulled his hand away. You are late, we have to hurry. Today is the midterm exam. In the arena, bangs rang out like a real fight. The two people peeked inside and breathed a sigh of relief before the time was up. They saw two young men carrying a person on a stretcher out. The strange sight puzzled Noah. Another noise came from the arena. Makes Noah afraid. Check what this is, clearly a fight. Only then did Squirrel notice that he had never seen Noah before. Noah immediately introduced himself as a new transfer student. He transferred in the middle of the semester, so Squirrel found it strange. He guessed that Noah didn't know anything about the exam rules, so he kindly explained. First, they will choose any ball from that box. There are 7 colors of the rainbow representing 7 levels: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and purple. And the difficulty will depend on the level. Each ball, after being thrown, will turn into a knight. of similar difficulty. At this time, Lucia got the indigo color. She confidently rides on her Goroshi to fight. Noah, standing on high, realized, these are the two monsters from last night. Hunt for him herself. According to the squirrel, indigo ball, corresponding to level 6. But he didn't seem excited at all because he was sure that the warrior would be crushed under Lucia's hands. The simple reason is because she is the valedictorian of this academy. Hearing the two words valedictorian, Noah was startled. He clicked his tongue and stood there watching to see if the valedictorian or the monster was scary. Lucia riding Goroshi. Boldly advance. She already has a fireball in my hand. She released it and it split into 4. Hit the cavalry's limbs. He immediately fell to his knees. Whole person was smoking after the recent explosions. Finally, Lucia gently finished it off. Turn away and toss hair, as if he had just swatted a mosquito. Noah looked at the scene and shuddered. If he hadn't stormed into the principal's office last night, then maybe the ending will be no different than that unlucky warrior. Lucia saw Noah wearing her school uniform and looked at him with a confused and angry look. Noah immediately picked up the signal and said, "Hello, monster." Monster Lucia growled with a face that truly made people's hair stand on end. Her whole body was filled with the spirit of preparing to beat Noah up again. She should have ended his life earlier last night. Stop. What are you doing in the middle of a test? The professor angrily reprimanded Lucia, forcing her to postpone teaching Noah until after the test. She turned to see Noah was the new mover. Noah waved hello in a friendly manner, but it seemed that even though he was a new student, there was still no sympathy. I will be up after Cootie, so be prepared. Next, Cootie. Cootie is the new squirrel who takes Noah to class. Now reassuring myself by reciting a previously memorized mantra. It seems that the ancestors blessed Cootie, so he picked the yellow one. His face looked happy. Confidently, throw the ball easy as pie. Let's finish this test quickly. A knight in golden armor appeared. Noah, even though he watched it a second time, was still amazed to see that huge thing emerge from a tiny sphere. Cootie holds up his brand new invention, magic cube. He threw it away. The small cubes of the cube separate. A magical link appears between them, forming a net. The net wrapped tightly around the knight, make it unable to move. Cootie passed the exam with joy and happiness. Wow! For someone who only knows how to tear things into pieces, you're really delicate. Good job, Cootie. Lucia sat behind him and loudly tried to lecture him, but the professor interrupted. Noah. Right, let's see what you got. Noah warms up and walks confidently. Sure enough, his appearance attracted the attention of many other students. Even the principal had to personally come to observe. Finally, it's the transfer student's turn. Seeing him suddenly appear, the exam proctor was confused. The principal said meaningfully, "What's so strange about a teacher coming to see his students?" Noah groped in the box. His chest was pounding. Although he was confident, he didn't want to pick secret. Suddenly, the only purple ball in the box flew straight into Noah's hand. His eyes widened and his breathing stopped. Fuck, don't tell me the ball just flew into my hand. Noah just raised the ball. Other students were sympathetic and said, what a shame, just transferred to another school. The seniors who received the purple ball before are even having a hard time living on. Lucia felt that she didn't need to do anything to expel Noah from this school. Today, it seemed like he only came to get his uniform to show off to the world. Cootie weakly covered his eyes, not daring to look. The professor in charge of the exam was also much more excited. It had been a long time since anyone had won the purple ball. But isn't it too much that we don't know anything about her? The professor was speaking when he bumped into the principal's despicable and mean face, as if he had already calculated everything. If you want to know if it's too much, you'll have to keep watching. Meanwhile, innocent Noah still didn't understand why everyone looked at him with such pity. Noah looked back and forth at the purple ball. Calm face. Throw it away. To see what's in here that makes everyone so confused. A dark figure appeared through the smoke. Noah whistled. That golden ball is pretty big. I wonder what this one is like. But saw the shadow in front of him getting bigger and bigger. Noah's face could no longer keep its calm. Holy shit, how big is this thing gonna get? A gladiator 5 or 6 times larger than Noah stood towering in the middle of the arena. You are not mentally prepared to be beaten by it. The students sitting there had never seen a level 7 fighter before. Thanks to Noah, their eyes were opened. Noah doesn't know how to fight that big thing. But today there are so many eyes watching you. What should I do? Before he could finish his thought, something big and long rushed towards him. Noah escaped by jumping to the side, avoiding the gladiator's surprise attack. He crawled around it. Stop behind the warrior. The Noah was pale. You almost died just now. The spectators were also surprised to see Noah able to avoid the attack just now. Maybe he just cast a defensive spell, or he's just a really fast runner. But Lucia felt that there was something strange about Noah. The next attack comes. Noah charged straight towards it and jumped to avoid the attack and moved into the gladiator's blind spot. People were amazed that Noah could jump so high, but they didn't know if it was a magic spell or not. At this point, the fighter was tired of using his fists. It threw the spiked ball at Noah. Its arms stretch out infinitely, about to touch your floating face. Noah gritted his teeth. Times like this require inner strength. No, didn't I tell you not to use magic in front of others? Noah remembers when he had to kneel down to receive punishment. When he accidentally used a simple wind spell. Noah's mother reminded him of his father, who was summoned to the battlefield just because he could use magic. Noah playfully used a little wind to push the chair up high, but was immediately discovered by his mother. Noah's arms were shaking from the pain. Please don't use magic, at least not in front of other people. Noah's mother suddenly hugged him and softly begged. But how could Noah just stand there and wait to die? He chanted. Throw up a shield. Block the level 7 fighter's spiked ball, causing it to veer off course and crash into the arena's defensive shield. Some water stains started to appear. No way, how could it break my shield? The professor is still in a panic. Then the shield was broken. Students nearby are about to suffer. Magic fragments are falling like rain. Noah's arm immediately swung out, causing debris to float in midair. The whole group was stunned. A girl looked around with a surprised face. It was that transfer student. Noah used the wind to carry the debris to him. Congregate into a sphere, even though we used it in secret. But using magic in front of so many people makes me feel like the naughtiest son ever. Noah throws shield fragments at the gladiator. Hit it on the head. He landed cool. Exhale to prepare for the next blow. Noah's arms are covered in wind magic. Now it's too late for the warrior to regret because he has decided to play seriously. Its head was visible through the smoke but appeared intact. Noah knew the last blow wasn't enough to kill the gladiator and even made it more aggressive. A flash of light came from the crack of its head. Like a gun, it aimed at Noah. But because there is no shield, so everyone present became its target. The gladiator readies his crossbow after locating all the enemies. Noah was surprised by it, why it had so many toys and he only had empty hands. It was so unfair. See the cold arrow pointing towards. The students were terrified again. Is it targeting us? Why is it being manipulated? Huge arrows were continuously fired before they could even react. The first students ran away in all directions. Noah still hasn't hit any arrows, so he finishes the line. What the hell is it doing? Lucille was also surprised by the gladiator's madness. Cootie was scared and cried for help. Professor Min, please stop that thing. If we keep going like this, we will die. Noah turned back to ask Professor Min for help, but she was still immersed in the fact that her shield was broken. Noah held his head at the abnormality of this academy. No. What the hell is going on? Are all academies like this? At this moment, Noah was noticed by the gladiator. He could only hold his head and run away. The principal watched with a bored look on his face. He feared that he had overestimated Noah. But Noah hasn't made a move yet. He just doesn't know how to knock down that moving pile of iron with just the power of the wind. Suddenly, an idea came to Noah's mind, and he immediately called Lucia. Quickly give me some fire, the stronger the better. Who do you think you are to ask me that? And this is your test, Yusi replied very stiffly. Noah angrily pointed at the fighter who was diligently showing off his sniper skills over there. How can I stop that thing alone, or do you want us all to die here? Lucia was speechless, but still have to create a fire source for Noah. Don't be arrogant. Noah also created a corresponding wind ball. Now let me show you. What is real power? He attacked the gladiator. The fire engulfed the gladiator's body. Noah controls the wind that provides oxygen. Keep the fire burning. High temperature melted all the iron and steel on his body. The students who were running away saw everything stop. Then also stopped to listen to the story. The new guy has done it. Noah was stunned for a moment, then punched the air with gusto. Meanwhile, Professor Min was so angry that her glasses broke because her wonderful gladiator design had been turned to dust. Noah turned around and gave Lucia a thumbs up. Hey, crazy woman, you and I work together really well. Stop being childish. Lucia raised her chin, looking indifferent. But Professor Min, standing next to her, was determined not to leave this unfortunate couple alone. Noah, Lucia, come to my office right now. After returning, Noah walked amidst the cheers of his students. Lucia walked behind, feeling sorry for him. How pitiful Noah made a face at Lucia's words. If it weren't for his help, she probably wouldn't have been able to take down that gladiator alone. Is that how you repay me? Lucia was impatient and wanted to challenge. After all, they were still in the middle of the match last night, and it hadn't ended yet. Noah also wouldn't give in to her. What, are you going to summon that monster again? Is that all you have? The two of them walked and argued as they arrived at Professor Min's office without realizing it. She cleared her throat. Ahem, are you two done yet? Professor Min asked. Do you two know why you were called here? Noah boldly stood up and spoke with a proud expression. Of course it was because of his heroic act of saving everyone. Unfortunately, there is no such thing. Professor Min angrily slammed the table. The professor reprimanded Noah for asking for help on the test. Lucia was also implicated for helping him. In short, this is cheating. So both of them will be at the bottom of the class. Professor Min concluded with a sentence, leaving both of them stunned. Lucia was so shocked that her brain couldn't load. Noah was still trying to fight. This was clearly unfair. He had saved them all there. But Professor Min seemed to disagree. Save who? Do you really think the academy would let its students be in danger? I haven't activated the second shield yet because I want to test your strength. Yusi finally realized that he was at the bottom of the class. Her eyes immediately fell on Noah, as if cursing him to die a horrible death. Professor Min gave them a hand, but her face looked untrustworthy. I will use my privilege to postpone the score announcement for a week. Instead, you two have to complete a task. If you succeed, I will not fail you two. Lucia has a headache because she has already passed the exam and has to retake it. But the task Professor Min gave her made her want to crash into the ground. You will have to teach transfer students all basic magic, which he missed in the first term. In short, your mission is to make Noah pass my test in the next week. Of course, Lucia refused. But she could not do anything. Lucia clenched her fists. Anger flared. She told herself that if she had the chance, she would have to teach Noah a lesson to ease my anger. After controlling her anger, Lucia sighed. Okay, I'll do it. Noah was unconscious, so he could do it. Professor Min nodded in satisfaction and turned to another topic. Noah, you have to get acquainted with the academy. What do you think the academy is? For Noah, who had never been to school, the academy was of course a place to teach magic. Professor Min immediately explained, there's more than just magic. The academy also teaches elemental magic like water, fire, light, and darkness. Those with talent will learn summoning magic. And magical machinery techniques too. Noah nodded. It's just more complicated than he thought. Professor Min was quite surprised when the principal suddenly proposed Noah as a transfer student. She also wanted to know more about his family background. Noah comes from Steoden. He is just a commoner and does not belong to any prestigious family. His background made Professor Min feel even more strange, especially the fact that Noah had such outstanding abilities and mana. It's perfect to die anonymously in the army, right? Noah said something that made Professor Min even more confused. She asked him again if he knew how to use summoning magic. But Noah didn't think it was necessary. His wind magic alone had already put him at the top. It's okay, you'll get the hang of it. Lucia will take you to the dorm now. Lucia couldn't take it anymore. She thought she was just supposed to teach Noah magic, not be his nanny. Professor Min immediately glanced at Lucia. Are you not cooperating? With no other choice, Lucia gritted her teeth and led Noah away. On the way, her whole body exuded the terrifying oppression of good students who only got 9.510 points. It was all Noah's fault. Noah clicked his tongue. Why is it my fault? It's all your fault. The reason Noah was being stared at by the principal was because someone was chasing him like crazy. And because he had to go to this academy, Noah was almost burned alive. Following you. Lucia prepared a fireball in her hand, preparing for Noah to say his denial. I was going to go easy on you for the principal's sake, but Lucia suddenly stopped her expression, revealing a hint of sarcasm. Noah certainly wouldn't be so clueless that he wouldn't be able to find the dormitory. Noah is very confident that nothing is difficult, but finding a way can be found at a glance. Lucia suddenly smiled wickedly, so listen carefully. The dormitory you broke into that night was for girls. Remember how you got to the principal's office? Go to the first room in the right hallway of that building. Noah heard something was wrong. How could a dorm room be in such a sensitive place? Lucia shrugged. Believe it or not, it's up to you. But if you enter the girls' dormitory again, They will definitely know you are a pervert. Noah had to do it. Sure enough, he got to that room. Extremely excited attitude. Hello, roommate. My name is... Your name is Noah felt something was wrong. The person in front of him had a sign that said Professor Serious. He lifted his glasses with his eyebrows knitted together. How rude. Noah finally found his way back to the dorm and realized that mean Lucia had trolled him. Now he looked like an idiot. The girl standing on high laughed at Noah. Haha, are you really that stupid? You should have observed more carefully. Noah glared at her as she was resting comfortably while he hadn't even had a bite to eat, intentionally giving wrong directions. Do you find this funny? Lucia narrowed her eyes and smiled evenly. She felt that Noah deserved it for being so arrogant towards her. Lucia climbed into bed and hugged his puppy, and fall asleep. In her dreams, a woman is telling a story to her daughter. Once upon a time, there was a family of mages who could not only control fire, but also lava. Lucia felt that family was extremely cool when she was young. Her mother gave Lucia the stuffed puppy and continued telling the story. And there was a lovely princess who raised this magical puppy. Lucia smiled brightly and took it. Like a real princess. While she was sleeping, a mouse accidentally squeezed in. The stuffed puppy suddenly lit up its eyes. It bounces up. Come before the mouse. Makes the mouse run away in fear. When the work is done, the puppy returned to Lucia's side. While the beauty slept soundly, Noah was tossing and turning because he had been deceived. Noah also felt restless because he kept feeling like he was forgetting something. The sound of snoring in his ears brought him back to reality. Oh, right! Noah jumped up and walked to the table. Write a letter to the boss to inform the customer that the order has been received. And he entered the academy and was given a mission. Looking at the shaky scribbles, but Noah still felt proud. Going to school can't stop his passion for making money. Maybe Noah should earn some extra money here. The next morning, Noah and Lucia have started their mission. She only teaches Noah for 30 minutes during lunch every day. No more, no less. I honestly don't understand why I have to waste time with someone like you. My perfect schedule is ruined just because of you. Noah shrugged. If Lucia kept blaming him, then he wouldn't study anymore. After all, Noah was the one personally invited to the academy by the principal. Failing just one subject won't get him expelled. What the fuck? Lucia was shocked and cursed. She didn't expect Noah to refuse to let her teach. If that happened, Lucia would definitely fail the class. She is the heir to the Segren family. Lucia is determined to succeed in order to rebuild her family's reputation. Seeing Lucia worried, Noah chuckled. He must have found her weakness. But Noah is a nice person anyway, so he will let her tutor him with one condition. Why don't you try asking me politely, for example, please let me tutor you? Lucia twitched the corner of her mouth but still tried to stay calm and spoke each word clearly. Please let me teach you. Okay, since you're willing, I'll accept it. Noah successfully got revenge and erased everything. He asked Lucia what they would learn today. But she was cold and did not want to talk. She only allows Noah to talk to her during class. Look at her back. Noah sighed. In the classroom, countless students surrounded Noah after yesterday's event. Oh my God, you're amazing. Where did you learn wind magic? I can't give away my secrets for free, but I can teach you if you pay me the right price. Noah shrugged while looking for an opportunity to get rich. At this moment, a stifling atmosphere suddenly filled the room. That's when Lucia walked in. Noah glanced around carefully. He don't know what the situation is. Two bad guys glance at each other, signal and chant a water ball. This scene caught Noah's eyes and made him sigh. Noah guessed that Lucia was the outcast here because of her talent and personality. Bad guy snaps his fingers. Aim the sphere at Lucia. A gust of wind blew through it. The guy gritted his teeth. A glared at Noah for his fun plan being ruined. D glared at Noah. Noah commander whistled and ignored. It's just that he can't stand by and watch their dirty behavior. Today is Professor Min's class. She brought in a bunch of bombs to kick off her lesson in magic techniques. Everyone was silent at Professor Min's question. Noah is mischievous, use a stream of air. Push the purple-haired guy's ass to make Lucia stand up. Okay, Aaron, come here. Aaron scratched his head. He thought a summoner didn't need to learn about engineering, just leave it to the inventors. It seemed that Aaron's words made Professor Min itchy. She looked at him with a judgmental look. If I had the power to decide, I would only teach talented students. Why don't you protest to your father? Principal Loren. Aaron had to drag himself up to the podium. Meanwhile, Noah's eyes lit up. He's the principal's son, so he must be rich. Maybe he should get close to Aaron first. Aaron's arms trembled as he picked up a bomb and muttered, "How the hell does this thing work?" Cootie raised his hand to try. Professor Min immediately signaled the whole class to pay attention to what Cootie was doing, to know that using magic is not everything. What should a summoner do if they can't summon a monster in the middle of a battle, or simply run out of mana? Professor Min asked Aaron directly, leaving him speechless. One day this device could save children's lives. Suddenly a snoring sound interrupted Master Min's voice. The person sleeping soundly was Noah. His classmates looked at him and felt sorry for him. He must be exhausted because his wind power is too strong. Professor Min was angry but did not directly take action. She looked at Lucia and gestured between them. "Remember, you only have 1 week. Lucia's lunch on the chair has some strange green objects. Aaron's childish game, of course, cannot fool her." Suddenly Noah ran up. "Sit down on the chair. What are you standing there for? If you don't sit, then let me sit." Suddenly he felt ticklish under his butt. "I see some rags," then heartlessly threw it to another place, specifically Aaron's place. A few rags fell into Aaron's soup dish. Make him angry. "Hey, transfer student, what family are you from?" To Aaron's question, Noah calmly munched on bread and said he didn't belong to any family. So he narrowed his eyes at him with a contemptuous smile. "Oh, so you're just a commoner." The 2 words commoner made the students start gossiping about Noah. They didn't know how an ordinary person like him could get into this prestigious academy. Noah noticed the strange atmosphere but couldn't resist the delicious taste of the bread. "A commoner like you dares to enter our academy. He definitely can't pay the tuition. Should I check my wallet when I'm near you?" Aaron's words made the students laugh. Noah was not bothered by his words. On the contrary, he clearly stated, "In my opinion, talent is more valuable than family reputation or money." Lucia sighed. If this continued, they would waste their afternoon tutoring time just because of that Aaron guy. She couldn't sacrifice her evening for Noah. "Stop it, Aaron! If this news reaches the principal's ears, Aaron will definitely not be left alone, because he dares to bully his favorite student." Aaron shrugged and laughed to cover his embarrassment. Started talking about Lucia. "Because you are afraid that your family will be stripped of its title, you are trying to please the common people. How interesting, a nobleman and a commoner are a match made in heaven. Let's see how long you two can hold out." After ignoring Aaron, Noah was also taught. He does not understand why she doesn't let he practice right away but have to learn theory. Lucia first asserts that she is not Noah's teacher, so he stops calling her sensei. Noah shrugged. "Okay, I'm used to that attitude of yours, so it's okay." Lucia tried to suppress the urge to punch Noah in the face to continue the lesson. "Do you think at your level there is a difference between theory and practice?" Noah whistled again, pretending not to care. Lucia wants to teach the basics first from mana. Noah created a wind ball mana. "You mean this? Are you kidding me? That's the magic I asked mana for." Noah scratched his head, wondering what the difference was between these two things. Lucia held her head. Now she knew why Professor Min called this a mission. To begin, Lucia used an example to make it easier to understand. The world is made up of elements: water, fire, light, and darkness. Noah uses wind magic because he has mana in his body. Noah fell asleep in the middle of his lecture. Lucia immediately used a spark to shoot at his forehead to wake him up. "Listen carefully. Mana is energy. If you run out of mana, what do you use?" Noah rubbed his head in confusion. "If you run out of mana, run away. Why stay and get beaten?" Lucia really didn't know where to start. It seemed Noah was just using the mana in his body. "That's how you destroy yourself, you idiot. But that's not what I care about anyway." Lucia returns to mana. There are 2 main types of energy that exist in the universe. One is innate mana, the second type exists around humans like air. If Noah only used his body's mana, he would definitely be exhausted. Lucia sets an example. She used her finger to gather mana in the air, creating a beam of light. Noah watched intently and tried to look surprised. "Oh, it looked like magic." "It's mana, not magic, idiot." Lucia felt less annoyed after scolding. She signaled Noah to follow her, gathering mana on her fingertips without using her body's mana. Noah frowned, using only one finger and not his body. He had no choice but to give up. "Will you do it or not? Just say it." Lucia lit a fire, just waiting for Noah to say no, and beat him up. Noah had to do it. When he raised his finger, the mana was sucked back and became a sphere on his finger. "This feels so weird. My fingers feel heavy. Don't tell me this is another joke of yours." Lucia seemed satisfied with Noah's ability and suggested, "If it seems heavy, why don't you create some wind?" Noah snapped his fingers and a fish landed. A strong gust of wind blew from his finger and shot towards Lucia. Lucia waved her hand to stop him, her expression unchanged. The wind hit the windows and made them crack. Noah looked at his hands. That's unbelievable. Lucia also felt that Noah was more talented than she thought. Now she understood why the principal let Noah into the academy. Meanwhile, Aaron was called to the principal's office. I heard you met our new student. Aaron bowed his head, wondering if he had heard what he had done in the cafeteria. Good, keep bringing out the best in him. Aaron was surprised to receive this order, especially since Noah was his equal. He's not even a summoner. Father has already overestimated his talent. He's just a commoner who knows a little wind magic. He will become a summoner soon. Principal realizes Noah's limitless potential, just like how he saw and adopted Aaron as his son. Back to Noah, who was amazed at his own abilities. Looking at the streaks of light around made the eyes sparkle like water. Am I really this strong? Stop fantasizing about power? Lucia shook her head. Because the academy is covered in an abundant flow of mana, it's easier for students to gather it together. But even so, Lucia had to admit that Noah was truly more talented than anyone else in this academy. She don't know why she's only been a teacher for one day, but she is already proud. Anyway, thanks to Noah's innate talent, Lucia didn't need to explain it further. Now that he was at the basic level, Lucia started teaching from page 121 of the book. Noah's mention of books was like his enemy. He tried to find an excuse not to read. Oh right, isn't it time for our afternoon class? Lucia frowned in annoyance. She never got her class schedule wrong and was sure that the next class would be in the arena. She would have more time to study. Noah's eyes rolled around like a cartwheel, making an excuse to go rest for a while. Lucia summoned another spark. This time it might burn his hair. You still want to go sit down and open the book. Noah was confused and opened the book to cover his face. But he left it the other way around, making Lucia extremely annoyed. You keep it in the right direction. Then Lucia paused as if realizing something. She squinted at Noah. Noah hastily flipped the book back. Oh, what? I'm just a little nervous. Then read the third paragraph of page 121. Lucia pointed to the book. Noah pursed his lips as if he was saying something, but his mind was blank. Lucia's shoulders shook, foreshadowing the wrath to come. How can you do the test if you can't read? The lesson ended in Lucia's frustration. Noah followed behind shyly and pleaded. I'm not completely illiterate. I just read a little slow. I told you not to talk to me outside of class. Lucia stopped and turned to glare at Noah. He immediately raised his hands to cover his face reflexively. Lucia didn't know what to do with a nobody like Noah. She wondered if he could get through the next class in peace. You better be careful. Professor Cyrus is not an ordinary person, Noah realized. That is Professor Cyrus? That he stormed into the room and was scolded for being rude. Professor Cyrus saw two people coming late, so he reminded them and let them stand in line. He immediately recognized Noah and began to introduce himself. We meet again, transfer student. I am Sergeant Cyrus, in charge of combat arts. Before starting the lesson, Professor Cyrus told a leading story. There was a very important event in Student when Student left the Great Alliance. This not only affects the fate of the nation, but also the career path of each individual. Practical combat art classes will help students orient and decide their own future, to be able to contribute to the war. First, they must exist and survive. So Professor Cyrus came up with a trick. That was to fight hand-to-hand without using magic. Let's see what you guys do when you run out of mana in the middle of a match. Anyone volunteer? The students looked around and of course no one dared to fight the teacher. Suddenly someone raised their hand, and that person was none other than Aaron. He chose Noah as his opponent. Aaron said while turning to provoke Noah. Hey kid, you're not going to refuse like a coward, are you? Noah appeared indifferent on the outside, but inside he was screaming. Why did this rich guy keep bullying him? Noah also wants to make friends to ask for money. Meanwhile, Aaron was planning. He thought Noah only knew how to use wind magic. If there is no magic in a duel, then there is nothing to worry about. Aaron confidently threw the book away and moved forward. The principal's words echoed in his head. How could Aaron support Noah? Noah and he are not on the same level. That lowly commoner, he won't die, but he certainly won't be able to walk around with that arrogant look. Meanwhile, Noah was yawning. He wondered when this Aaron will be ready. Professor Cyrus is also very impatient. Enough for talking, let's start the game. Aaron clenched his fist and charged forward, want to aim straight at Noah's provocative face. Noah was startled by his disgusting appearance and stepped aside. Aaron continued with his other hand, and Noah still avoided it. Next, Aaron showed all kinds of poses. Boxing. Punch lightly but pose a lot. Noah was increasingly surprised, his eyes showing confusion. What the hell? Why is he so weak that he insults his opponent? Cootie's thoughts went, hello everyone. He smiled and crossed his arms over his chest. I'm Cootie Rabbit, and I'm a student at Renee Academy. He leaned on his hands and raised his head proudly, as everyone can see, I am a Benian. Cootie created a small fire, his face suddenly fell, because Benian people usually have weak magical abilities. All he saw before his eyes was the image of him standing on a machine holding an axe, happily introducing, we specialize in magical engineering. He was depressed as he remembered the headmaster's face. Most elves were born with magical talent, he thought, and then shook his head in dismay, but their numbers were so small that he wouldn't mention them. He thought of Noah and Aaron fighting, and thought that humans have a 20% chance of being born with magical abilities. In his mind, images of those two people bickering back and forth filled Aaron's mind as he shouted, I will kill you. Of course, only a few of them could use significant magic. Cootie's face was expressionless while the rest of them were. The scene of him happily sitting on the robot sweeping around saying, I can crush them with my invention. At this moment, standing next to him was a girl. His words made her look down inquisitively. Noticing the girl's gaze, Cootie turned and waved his hand saying, that's not what I meant. While the girl went somewhere else, he thought to himself, I accidentally said it out loud. After all, to be honest, all magicians are weaklings. He pictured Aaron frowning in annoyance, thinking, they think they're omnipotent because they can use magic. Then suddenly he shouted and rushed forward. Here is my finishing blow. Noah quickly jumped up to dodge the attack, causing Aaron's punch to deflect. Because he lost his balance, he fell to the ground. Cootie's thoughts silently exclaimed, oh my God, look how pathetic he is. A finishing blow. What an idiot. Cootie shook his head in dismay. After all, a person can only acquire a certain number of skills in life. An evaluation board of Aaron appeared before Cootie's eyes. In the limited time at the academy, if he spent too much time on magic, there would be no time left for physical training. Noah arrogantly said, is that all hearing? That Aaron's face flashed with a bit of annoyance. He didn't hear an answer, so he continued enthusiastically, I haven't even started yet. Aaron angrily muttered, arrogant brat. He clenched his fist and shouted, I will kill you. Noah heard that and was confused, thinking, wow, he's so persistent. What's wrong with him? He rolled his ankle, thinking, I better finish him off quickly. Thinking then, he quickly rushed to where he was sitting. Aaron saw that and was scared, exclaiming, he's so fast. Not seeing him anymore, he was scared, wondering where he had gone. Before he could notice, he had slipped behind him. Noah hit Aaron's legs with his knee, made him fall to his knees. He pointed at his body with a serious face and said, this is the distance between you and me. Lucia stood among the crowd watching the match, looking at him and thinking, why is that idiot prolonging the match like this? You never know what Aaron has up his sleeve. Aaron was embarrassed and angrily muttered, how dare you embarrass me like this? He stood up in front of many people and shouted, summon book. He turned around and shouted, Satch, quickly, give me my summoning book. A voice said, okay. Then the person threw the book to him. Aaron's face broke into a tired smile. He jumped high and caught the book in his hand. The book was held by him and then fell to the ground. Aaron opened the book, a beam of light ran through him and said, Kai, time to erase him. From the book, a strange masked man appeared before the light. Noah spoke worriedly. He summoned his beast. Kai held a gun up high. Then from there, a blue light radiated and attacked him. He quickly dodged to one side. He asked uneasily, what kind of power is this? Noah scolded, hey, you're playing dirty. We're not allowed to use magic. Aaron angrily shouted, shut up. On the battlefield, he said as he controlled Kai to shoot another green beam, the only important thing is survival. Seeing that, Noah immediately used his strength to block the attack. The shield he created stood in the middle of the great beam of light. Seeing Noah still continuing to hit, Aaron asked in confusion, didn't you hear me? He remembered the image of a righteous man. Lawns you raised a wonderful son. Now, let's see how stupid this transfer student is. Amidst the smoke that rose from the attack, Noah spoke, I wanted to be friends with you because you're the principal's son, but if that's how you truly feel, then I have no choice. He flew up and punched him, shouting, want to fight? Then let's start. Kai, standing on the other side, continued to shoot out another blue beam of light to block his attack. Two streams of power collide, make a huge bang. The people who had been watching all this time suddenly raised their voices. Who won? Now what? What just happened? Lucia looked at the scene before her with an expressionless face. Aaron and Kai stand in the smoke. He sat on the ground looking around. Lucia now glanced at Noah. He bowed to the ground after the headbutt. His whole body hit the wall, causing a big crack in it. She said, annoyed, that idiot. Under the brilliant purple-orange sunset sky, the sunlight filtered through the clouds, creating a magical scene with majestic towers glowing amidst bustling sounds. 3 students in Magic Academy uniforms walked and chatted. I didn't expect this to turn into a magic battle. Another student with ears like an elf replied. I was surprised too. Lucia stood with her arms crossed, looking down at Noah sitting on the ground, her eyes cold and her posture majestic. Cootie ran from afar and shouted, Noah, are you okay? Lucia immediately turned back to glare at him with an expression that couldn't be more terrifying. Cootie saw that and was scared, tried to change the subject and smiled, then left. He must be fine. Noah glanced away but kept talking to Lucia. What's going on? She was silent for a moment and then spoke. First, Lucia looked at him with a scary gaze, gritting her teeth. Why didn't you finish him sooner? You could have ended the match already. She continued secondly when Aaron raised the magic book. You should have stopped Aaron from taking his book back. Lucia wondered. Annoyed, is it necessary to beat him fair and square? She remembered when Noah unleashed a blue magic attack and ended up dueling. A monster was insane. Lucia was confused by Noah's actions in the last match, and she poured them all out at once. Do you know even great mages have a hard time dealing with monsters? Noah was bored and didn't even look at him. Even though Lucia kept on talking about his actions earlier. Oh, so it's because of that, she yelled in irritation at his current unpleasant attitude. How can you be so calm after losing a match you should have won? Lucia continued speaking while imagining the lesson she had conveyed to Noah. If you gather mana around you, like the teacher taught you, you can definitely defeat him. However, he still sat calmly below and said, I don't care. He acted like it had nothing to do with him. It was annoying to get hit, but no one paid me to win. Noah closed his eyes despite Lucia's scolding him. Money is not the most important thing. Don't you have any self-respect? It seemed that Lucia's words had touched Noah's pride, causing him to speak up. Self-respect? If I valued it that much, I wouldn't have survived until now. Lucia helplessly shouted you. She started to become a machine saying, what's wrong with you? If money is so important, then just be a businessman or something from the beginning. Noah saw that and turned away in frustration. When she got bored, she left. Okay, do whatever you want. I won't waste my time with you anymore. He watched her angry back disappear into the sunset and could only sigh helplessly. Left alone, he monologued to himself. How do these kids know? In the quiet night, the light from the academy windows. Suddenly the space was destroyed by the sound of a door being slammed shut. Lucia now stood in the room with an angry look on her face. I'm crazy, she said with an angry look on her face. She raised her hand to remove the academy badge pinned to her collar and shouted, I shouldn't expect anything from that idiot. Lucia sat down on the bed. From now on, he will take care of himself. Thinking once I finish teaching, I will never... One hand she groped on the bed searching for. She suddenly realized that she seemed to be missing something. The place where a stuffed animal used to be is now absurdly crowded. Lucia fell into deep thought. My wolf doll. She immediately turned the pillow over, hoping that it would playfully hide in there, but unfortunately, it was gone. She turned over every corner of her desk drawer but still couldn't find her teddy bear. It was gone. At this moment she was really panicked. Where is my wolf? Lucia was utterly bewildered. No way. Then she thought of countless possible scenarios. For example, he was the one who stole it. Did he take it? And her wolf was signaling for help, save me. Lucia panicked and paced around the room, thinking he's been here before, so it should be easy to get it back. She closed her eyes tightly to imagine everything that could happen and wondered to herself, but does he have a reason to do that? Lucia remembered the times she had angrily scolded and yelled at Noah. Not just once or twice, attitude is never good. She finally realized it was possible. Lucia collapsed to the ground in despair. This seemed to make her really desperate. To the point of being lost? This is bad. The footsteps of many people echoed from the hallway. One person spoke up in a flattering voice. Aaron, you're really excellent. He's no match for you. His 2 friends walked on either side. The other person also joined in. That's right. After all, defeating a monster isn't easy. But his response was only a frown, and then a longer and faster walk. Aaron left the other 2. I'm going first. seeing that they didn't understand what was happening but didn't dare to chase. He went to a secluded area where few people passed by, frowned, and hugged his arm tightly. He looked down at his arm, which was still throbbing with pain, and thought, the collision just now still hurts. So Aaron chose this path to return to his room. Unexpectedly, he met someone. He startled and glanced up at the person in front of him. None other than Professor Cyrus was solemnly pushing his glasses. This made Aaron wonder, you didn't say anything before, so why are you waiting for me here now? He cautiously asked him in a low voice. What's the matter, Professor? He just replied calmly, come in, he's waiting for you. The door opened, and Aaron walked inside. There was a mysterious person with his back turned to him. Lauren turned back and said softly, You're here. I stopped by before going to the palace for an important meeting. He smiled kindly. I came here myself because I don't have much time. I hope you don't mind. Aaron smiled wryly and replied, Oh, of course not. You can come by any time. He replied, Oh, and how are your studies? Do you get along with your roommate? He worried to himself, this isn't like him at all. This is driving me crazy. He continued, Surely that's not what I need to ask you, is it? Lauren suddenly laughed, creating a dangerous feeling. Since when have you been so rude to the professor? Aaron bit his lip in fear, unable to refute anything. Is that how I taught you? A second ago he was standing there, but the next moment he was kneeling on the ground, trembling in fear, saying, I'm sorry. He walked slowly towards Aaron. I have to leave soon to take care of something very important. Under the gloomy light, the powerful headmaster stood majestically before the kneeling Aaron. In my absence, if you complete your mission, you will be rewarded accordingly. Lauren said a sentence, then paused for a moment. However, if you fail this time, on the principal's face, there was no longer a gentle smile, but a terrifying, authoritative gaze. He threatened, I will have no choice but to punish you. Don't disappoint me. Professor Min stood with her head bowed and a solemn expression on her face. She slowly said, First of all. Then she raised her head and said excitedly, I am extremely pleased to know that you have spent your free time practicing basic magic. Noah and Lucia stood below, listening attentively as she continued. Today I look forward to seeing your achievements. Noah pretended to be emotional and wiped the corner of his eyes. Thank you so much for recognizing our efforts. After saying that, he excitedly raised his head to the sky and shouted, Now let's begin. Let's go. In contrast to Noah's enthusiasm, Lucia was not very happy. She was lost in thought since then. I have searched everywhere. Image of her taking things out of her school bag to search appeared. And she asked everyone, but it seemed all efforts were in vain. After almost turning every corner upside down searching, she tiredly sat against the bed. I can't find my wolf doll anywhere. At this moment, Noah was concentrating his power to create a ball of light in front of his chest. She was still lost in thought. I still doubt that idiot, but he's not stupid enough to sneak into the girls' dorm again. Noah raised the ball of light above his head. The ball of light gradually grew bigger and brighter, giving off a sparkling light that made him extremely happy. Lucia looked up and thought to herself, I have to get it back no matter what, but there's one problem, and that he is the only one I can ask for help. On this side, he focused on practicing, and did not notice that she was having a hard time. She frowned in disgust. I don't like this at all. But if I pay him, then he will accept. He said money can solve everything, right? Professor Min clapped his hands in satisfaction and praised him. Good job. You passed. I see that you have tried very hard. He happily swayed and danced, of course. You can't imagine it. Nothing is impossible with the great genius Noah. Practice time ended. Professor Min left. Before leaving, she told the two of them, You've worked hard today, you should rest. I have something to do and have to go. Lucia silently watched her disappear behind the door. She cleared her throat and awkwardly called Noah. Hey. She was a little embarrassed and slowly asked, So, you're still in the search business, right? The doll you gave me disappeared. I'll pay you handsomely, so can you help me find it? Noah turned his head around, confused, not understanding what she was saying. Huh? He immediately remembered and looked away indifferently. He pouted and asked back, Why should I do that? Lucia looked at his attitude and was furious. She asked, Why did you refuse? I said I would pay. I never lied about that. Noah pretended to think and waved his hand. No need. I still have to keep my dignity. Now that I passed the test, we won't have to see each other anymore. Just as you wish. She stood frozen on the spot, so shocked that she stuttered, What? He walked away, leaving her confused. Okay, goodbye, good luck finding someone else. Lucia's eyes widened in shock. She couldn't believe what she just heard. What the hell, didn't he value money more than his dignity? What should she do? In the kingdom of Student, the majestic castle is covered in a misty fog. In the great hall, many people were chatting. Mate said while looking towards the main door. It seems your majesty is delaying. Principal Lauren also glanced toward the door, but his face showed nothing but a faint smile. At this moment, the big door slowly opened before everyone's eyes. The majestic royal knight entered. As soon as he entered, he shouted, "The Prime Minister, come here." A moment later, everyone gathered in front of the main hall. They were talking excitedly. What are they talking about? What's going on? It's chaos. The old Prime Minister frowned sadly at the knight. Then he stepped forward, wiped his sweat, and solemnly announced, "I apologize to the distinguished guests who have come here today, but today's meeting is cancelled." The old man bowed his head slightly, his face sad. Besides, according to the king's orders from this moment on, Seodan will leave the Grand Alliance and become an independent nation, he declared, clenching his fists. Mate was startled when he heard that. Principal Lauren also glanced at him, the corners of his lips curled into a gentle yet unpredictable smile. A man asked, "What's going on? Where is Majesty?" The Prime Minister glanced at the knight and replied cautiously, "His Majesty cannot see anyone due to his poor health." He immediately looked doubtful. "What nonsense?" Then turned to Mate as if seeking sympathy. "Mate, say something." Mate closed his eyes and replied in a low voice, "We were trapped." Principal Lauren turned to Cyrus and said, "Let's go." He immediately replied, "Yes, sir." Just as he was about to leave, a deep voice suddenly rang out from behind. "Wait." Mate approached and asked, "Did you know about this before?" Lauren replied calmly, "Of course not. I had to put aside all my busy work just to come here." Then his voice turned mocking, "May your family be blessed." Mate was speechless when he heard that. Leaving the great hall, Cyrus followed behind the principal, looking at Mate's figure as he slowly spoke. "So this is the end of the Sigrin family, now that Steodan has taken over the assets of the fallen Farron kingdom." He pushed up his glasses and said in a low voice, "Continuing to stay in the Great Alliance is just a foolish act." Lauren turned to look at Cyrus with interest. "Oh, so what do you think will happen to us?" Cyrus didn't take too long to speculate. Military tensions will escalate, and the military will get the entire budget, so we can only benefit. He added, "There is more to chaos than opportunity. Chaos means war. We will carve our names into history in the midst of that chaos," he mused. Thinking of the promising future, he could not contain his happiness. Lauren tilted her head back and let out a long laugh that echoed throughout the hallway. A moment later, his face returned to its unusually gentle expression. "Everything seems to have gone as we expected, hasn't it, Renee?" On the ground, there was an envelope addressed to Noah Harrington, room 211, Renee Academy Boys Dormitory. A hand picked up the letter, curiously wondering. A letter? Who sent it? Noah frowned in confusion and opened the letter to read. The blank piece of paper without a single line of writing made him even more confused. Immediately used his power to create a beam of light that shone on the letter. The words on the letter gradually appeared. He wondered, who else does that these days? Noah's eyes widened in surprise when he saw the full contents of the letter. The content of the letter only mentioned tracking Lucia. Noah's mood was extremely heavy and tired. In the classroom, everyone was concentrating on the lecture. Only he was absent-mindedly thinking about that letter. Noah recalls the moment he opened the letter and wondered, I don't know who would make such a request. The content of the letter made him think a lot. The reward in the letter was 40,000 gold. With that amount of gold, he could pay off all his debts and start over, but thinking of this, he automatically glanced to one side, doubtfully. This request is too ambiguous. While thinking, he looked at Lucia, who was busy copying her notes. Moreover, Noah remembered the past when he said he was not interested and should worry about it himself. He held his head in anger. How can I talk to her after saying that I will have to stick by her side all the time if I want to keep an eye on her? He collapsed on the table, exhausted. Cootie next to him saw that and wondered what's wrong with him today. Suddenly someone's voice rang out. Okay, I have one last announcement. Professor Min continued, the title tournament is coming up. You must have heard about it, and you also know how important your team is in the tournament. So form a team and submit your application before today. After the announcement of the end, one student suddenly exclaimed, Today. Another student was worried. Why is the deadline so urgent? One asked his deskmate, Are we on the same team? The other replied, Maybe. Cootie happily ran back and asked Noah, We're in the same platoon, right? In Noah's head, a conversation between the devil and the angel was taking place. It's 40,000 gold, do it. No, this won't work. He replied, okay. He suddenly looked down and heard the other students talking about Lucia. Look who's lonely again. Who cares? She's an outcast. There were 2 students sitting there laughing and saying her family is ruined. The tournament is the least thing she needs to worry about. She might even have to drop out of school, right? If war breaks out with the Great Alliance, her family will be destroyed. Hearing that story made Noah think to himself, being a noble is really hard. Poor thing. The other 2 students continued, but she's really good at pretending not to hear us. Suddenly a shout interrupted the conversation of those 2 guys. Hey, hey! Noah put his hands on the table and stood up, looked at the 2 students and said, friends shouldn't argue. The guy with long hair disagreed and argued back. Who said we were friends? He immediately explained to that guy, you guys are classmates, so you're all friends. There's no need to get angry, we're all the same age. The ponytail guy growled back, what is he talking about? Despite Noah's voice responding, Lucia bowed her head and stood up. If you continue to speak ill of others, bad karma will follow you. Then she ran out of the classroom, leaving the guy with the ponytail confused. What's wrong with her? The guy next to her replied, she's probably embarrassed because she doesn't have any friends. The incident happened in a split second when suddenly someone shouted, hey, where are you going? Noah ran out of the classroom, chasing after Lucia. What's wrong? I was just trying to help. Hearing his voice from behind, she pursed her lips and turned to look. At this moment, she was extremely angry and asked, you dare to pity me? This is my problem, don't interfere. Seeing that Noah just stood there silently looking at her, Lucia angrily pointed at him and shouted, besides, you said you never wanted to see me again. So why do you keep staring at me and following me, you pervert? So annoying. Being hit in the heart, Noah jumped up and protested, I don't have it. I'm not following you. Unable to believe it, Lucia looked at him seriously and said in a low voice, tell me the truth. Seeing her like that made Noah panic. Oh my God, does she know already? She quickly shouted and questioned, you took my wolf doll, right? Noah felt relieved when he saw that things weren't as he thought. What's wrong? I have to take your doll, right? He thought to himself. So she doesn't know yet. But Lucia didn't believe it. The 2 of them started fighting. She shouted, you're the only one I can suspect. He replied, you're framing an innocent person again. The 2 grabbed each other by the collars and argued. Lucia shouted, give it back. Noah insisted, it wasn't me. Cootie came to mediate. Hey, don't argue. Now you guys are teammates. But hearing the shocking news from Cootie, Lucia turned to look and asked what. Noah opposite also wondered, very teammate. To prove his words, Cootie immediately held up the paper, yes, teammates. Look here, the content of the paper is the application form for the tournament position. Cootie, Noah, Lucia, then. Cootie continued, I have a plan, now listen carefully. Cootie pointed to a long guy's speech and concluded, okay, you guys get it. The 2 paused their argument and listened to him say, anyway, if we form a group, we will have a summoner, an elemental mage, and a magic engineer making the perfect team. Hearing that, Noah quickly thought, teammate, yeah, this might be my chance. I'm still hesitant about taking that mission, but I'm sure everything will be fine if I stay close to her. After finishing the analysis, he happily shouted loudly to Lucia's surprise, let's do it. She was also considering teammates, maybe I need them too, but suddenly rushed at Noah and grabbed her neck, shouting, give me back the doll first, I won't cooperate with a thief. He immediately innocently replied, why do you keep accusing me? Her screams did not stop. Could it have legs, and walked away by itself, followed by his hopeless cries, I'm innocent. In another place, there is a wolf doll that is lost in thought. Not being able to think of anything made the wolf doll stand up with its hands. It looked up as if it was calculating something. The scene before him was a dormitory building in the school. Suddenly there were footsteps behind him, making him turn around to look. Before he could do anything, the wolf doll was grabbed by someone. A stranger picked it up and looked at it and whispered, I wonder who this belongs to. In another school building, someone said, hey guys, we are a team, right? But there is a problem. It was Cootie's voice. He put his hands on his hips and announced, we're still short a tanker. We have to find more people. Tankers take damage for their teammates. Saying this, he proudly boasted, I, Genius Cootie, of course have a plan. I'm sure he hasn't found a team yet because he's a Galagon. Noah and Lucia, sitting across from each other, heard this and shouted together a Galagon. Ignoring the 2's panic, Cootie continued, yes, my plan is to gather all the outcasts who have nowhere else to go and create the perfect team. Eloy slammed his fist on the table in anger at the thought of being abandoned. Cootie persuaded, I think he would be the perfect tanker. Noah, he is your roommate, so invite him. Noah spoke up, my roommate, so you are talking about him. But it doesn't seem right. Cootie heard that and immediately defended himself. What are you saying? It's been 4 years since the Galagon War ended. Just remembering the image of Master Cootie, he told, including Principal Lauren, who fought against Galagon, was almost killed by one of them. But he still accepted Mumu into the academy, even though he was Galagon. Then he continued War leaves scars, of course. But at this point he folded his arms and concluded, it would be a shame to miss out on a talent because of that right. His words made Noah's mood complicated. He said to himself, just a wound. Countless people have died. He suddenly thought of his father's image in the war, including my father. Cootie heard that and clarified the matter. The king of Galagon is the one who started the war. The Galagons themselves are not at fault, right? Noah quickly avoided his eyes and replied, I know. Lucia, sitting on the side, also chimed in. It's just a group exercise anyway. No need to complicate things. I think this is the best choice for our team. Think of the image of your roommate. Noah still hesitated to repeat. But working with a Galagan. Turn back to the story of Lucia's wolf. Story in early autumn, a small wolf doll with a strange badge around its neck. A doll was sent anonymously to the academy. Under the pale moonlight, Lucia hugged the doll tightly to her chest and fell into a peaceful sleep. Because to her, it was not just a toy. To Lucia, it was a precious keepsake of her late mother. However, there is a little-known fact that it is actually a doll specially enchanted to protect her. In the quiet night when Lucia slept, she hugged the doll tightly in her arms. That day, like always, the doll tried her best to protect her owner. But then, when danger struck, the doll that had been silent in Lucia's arms suddenly sprang up and threw itself into the darkness with a decisive leap, and then ended up having an unfortunate accident. It fell from Lucia's room window and rolled around several times before coming to rest on the ground. Even though only a mosquito landed in Lucia's room, the doll could sense that its master was in danger. Although he tried many ways like climbing away and trying to get back to her, all his efforts were thwarted time and time again. It could only lie on the ground and cry silently. The wolf still lay there as if waiting for a miracle to happen. Just then a dark shadow appeared and covered his vision. But no one knows who he is and she is scared too. Who is this suspicious kidnapper? What will happen to the wolf doll? Noah then complained, damn, I can't be on the same team as a Galagon. No way, I refuse. Cootie ignored him and continued to chatter with Lucia. Mumu is the only Galagon in the school. He can't use magic but is extremely strong. He's especially good at close combat with magical weapons, Lucia added. In other words, he's a great fit for our team. A team with high speed but lacking physical strength. Makes sense. Cootie closed one eye but glanced at her with the other, unable to help but praise. You're the valedictorian, you understand the problem right away. He raised his hand and said, okay, let's go inside. The three of them immediately entered. Welcoming them was a garden of brilliant red roses blooming soft yellow light, filtering through the lush green leaves. Cootie spoke up. We've arrived Mumu's lair. Noah saw it and exclaimed in surprise, look at this pile. There must be a word for it. He looked around under the glass dome. The indoor garden with its vibrant red roses and lush greenery creates a magical and warm atmosphere. When something is this gorgeous, it makes you feel warm inside. Finally, Lucia concluded with one word, beautiful. Her one word said everything in Noah's heart. Isn't that the word you're looking for? You talk like a 6-year-old kid. He looked bored. Not that I can think of a much better word. Lucia looked at the colorful flowers and commented, it must be tiring to take care of them. What an extravagant hobby. Noah turned to Cootie and asked, luxury, is this expensive? He replied softly, what matters is the effort. Lucia walked forward, looking around, and introducing my house also has a garden like this, she said, and then she was pensive for a while because she remembered her deceased mother. But since her mother died, no one took care of it anymore, so it was completely ruined. Noah seemed to sense the presence of something else, and he was quite familiar with it, isn't that? But before he could figure things out, Lucia had rushed over dizzyingly, shouting excitedly, my wolf doll. She was both surprised and happy as she tried to pick it up. Why is it here? But there was a strong, deep step coming. The mysterious person blocked her way and asked fearfully, who are you, making Lucia a little confused and scared? The farmer looked at the girl across from him with sharp eyes and asked, what do you want? She angrily replied, what do I want? Then pointing at the wolf, "Isn't it obvious?" she shouted. "I want my doll back." Cootie stood outside and shouted in panic, "No, we came here to invite you to join the team to participate in the tournament." As for Lucia, she had only been paying attention to the wolf until now. She gritted her teeth and replied to him, "The plan has changed.